Okay, we should be live. I just pinged everybody in the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the video description, along with some links that we'll be going over. And I'll add the timestamps as soon as the live stream is done. So let's give it a second for everybody to get in here. All right, looks like people are starting to get in here, so I'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. So McNeil just did service release 8, and the link for this is down in the description. And they did a lot of wonderful things and opened up some really exciting workflows. So the main thing that I'm going to cover is under history. There is a import, one of these. Yeah, parent and child objects created by some commands lost connections on import. That's actually 56171. 56171. Yeah, that's it. So basically what this is, if you create a parts library and you want to reuse something like we did in this Shank workflow, the link for this is in the video description as well. So if you wanted to do this, it worked, and you could pull it into your Rhino session and reuse, a pre-made Shank. But what if you needed a matching band? You couldn't bring it in again. So that is something that has changed with this version. I can come over here to my parts library and I find my Shank and bring it in, import file. And now I have this Shank that I can use. I'm going to take and let's flow that from here to there. And now we've got, if you haven't seen that video, go back and watch it, but I have this Shank template that works. And now if I need to add a second one, go ahead and bring another one in, import file. And what I'm going to do is take and move these guys up here. And boom, this is still has all of its history. I can take the new one, which is a little bit wider, flow it onto our surface and grab its curve. I'm not sure which one is which. That is the new one. And now we have 2 templates that work. So that is this newest feature. But there's some exciting things that happen because of this. There's a lot of workflows that opened up because this was fixed. They added things like copy and paste. Copy and paste is in here as well. I'm not going to go through all of this. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Starting off at the top, if you use the align command and you wanted to, evenly space out control points, it didn't work with control points. That works now. But mainly I'm going to focus on the history stuff for this window. So I work in lock mode. I have LockChildren on, and this is a very difficult workflow to use. I never met anybody on the forums or anywhere else that uses this style of workflow, where if I try and do something like that, it would not have let me before. This is a change. This is something that I'm getting used to and something that I'm not exactly comfortable with at the moment. Because before, when I tried to grab everything and move it, locked things would not move. And let me give you a more concrete example. So I take this guy, take that point, move it over here. All right. You saw all of these were updated at the same time. Let's try and grab this one and move it over. It's locked. So the change is when you grab parents and children and move them, it does not break history. Whereas before, see, I won't grab a parent, I'll just grab a child and move it. For me, that's locked. If I turn LockChildren off, that would move. History is broken silently. You could try and work with the history break warning, but that's just annoying as hell. You're not going to do that for very long. You're going to turn that off. You're going to do that. You're going to accidentally break history and not realize it until you've gone too far down to undo your way back. So that's why I used LockChildren, and that kept me from making mistakes. But it was very difficult to work with. This whole select and move, I think it works great, except for with mirrors, mirrored objects. So if you haven't watched this video, where is it? If you haven't watched this video, you won't see the setup to how all of this works, but I'm going to do it from scratch in a little bit. Just know that mirror is kind of the thing that runs afoul of this new method where dragging parents and children together does not break history. Let's see, history. I'm not going to go through that. You guys can read this on your own. This was the original feature request to get this bug fixed, because it was a bug, but you guys have seen these bezel rings where you have a million of them. And you can't do this with blocks, right? I want the same 0.5 millimeter offset between these two. So I would have to make one for each stone size. And I'd basically do a factory and just do one command on 8 stones, do one command on 8 stones, 20 commands to make the bezels for these guys when they're the exact same thing. Now I can do it one time and import it a second time, scale the stone. The offset history is set to 0.5 millimeter. It will adjust to 0.5 millimeter. And you can use blocks and history to make these kinds of stacking rings with bezels a lot faster. So another thing that I wanted to do with it was for printer supports. Okay, I want to have a printer support with a curve, a certain base radius, a certain top radius, and just keep bringing them in everywhere I need to add a support. I've already got this history worked out where all I have to do is edit the curve and then the support goes in place. But you couldn't do that because this, as soon as you brought a second one in, it broke history and was all kinds of a mess. One of the side effects of this is now we have, I'm going to, let's start with a new file. One second while I get a new file up here. Okay, and we're back. So let's remake that shank. I think that is the first thing that I want to do is remake that shank. So I'm going to hide all of this and do a little setup. Now this is a consequence of being able to import things multiple times, that it will keep the history. I did not see this coming, and I am super excited about this because it opens all kinds of new workflows. Let's set this to be over here, and let's make it just wide enough. Well, that's too wide, but that's fine. I'm going to create a polyline like this. there, and there. Okay. Okay. I want to keep my history for now. So what I'm going to do is take this. This is going to be my master, and I'll go ahead and start making my layers here. So this is for a Shank. And this is my control curve. I'm going to dump that onto that layer. And then I'm also going to make a layer up here for Shank flows. And I like to have my Shank flow colors to be gray. Change object layer. That is on control. Yes. Okay. So let's take, and we're going to FlowSrf. And I do not want auto adjust. I want preserved structure, not rigid. And we're going to go from there to there. Now, because I mirrored this, you can look at the direction on it. You can look at the direction on this and see that this one's ugly color, that's U. This one's U is going this way. This one's U is going that way, but they have the same V. Okay, so that's my color scheme. V for violet, U for ugly color. So because I turned off auto adjust no, when I take and do this, I get a mirror. Now it's not a true mirror because if I take this and move this way, you're going to get the points going in opposite directions. But as long as you keep it in this plane, it will act like mirror. It's only when you rotate. But here's something you can do. I'm going to take and turn lock off and rotate this. If you need, you can just move those planes. And now you're still connected to history here. Okay, undo that. So it's not broken. Not broken. Yes. Okay. So it's not a true mirror, but it's one of the things that we can do with flow along surf is take and utilize that direction going that way and that way with the same vertical V direction. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and we are going to do Joincopy. Now, Joincopy is got some issues in the latest patch. I've reported it. If you want to say, hey, please fix this, that would be welcome. And I just got another reply from McNeil here. So this is what's happening in Joincopy in this service release is sometimes it's acting just like join and it will ignore the LockChildren. But it's very random. It's not all the time. So let's do a Joincopy. This was the main point of the video that I keep referencing that when we made this Shank originally. My favorite new feature of Rhino 7. We're going to take those and we are going to dump them onto our junk layer. Okay. And I need junk on for the moment. I wanted to grab the join curve copy and we are going to do curve through polyline. Okay. And I want degree 5. Tell that okay. So now I'm going to put this onto my curves layer. So control is the thing I edit. Junk is the things I got to make to get to this point. And curves is the output that I use to go to the surface. I'm going to tell that okay. And now we have this curve and this curve, and let's isolate them. And now if I edit this, I edit that. And it is symmetrical, because most things we do are symmetrical. Okay. Bring all that back. Now, here is the thing that I didn't see coming, which is incredibly exciting for this release of Rhino. I'm going to take these guys and I'm going to select my junk, select objects, and I'm going to select my curve and I'm going to group them. Okay. So now I've got a group and I've got my control. I'm going to leave the control out of it. Grab all these guys, copy, and paste. Now, okay. I told myself not to do this so I could show you a problem, and then I don't remember exactly what I was going to show you. But in my notes here, it says, don't break history on this plane. I undid the paste. I had an important point. I'll remember it later. What I want to do is take, and before I copy and paste, I want to take this flow and break it. Now, how do you break it? Well, you can't move it. Turn lock off. Can't move it because this is still got the mirror on it. I broke it from this one, but I did not break it from this one. It's very difficult to break this side. Now, there is HistoryPurge, and I will use it, but the problem with HistoryPurge is that is not undoable, okay? That is not undoable. My old break history command, which just moved it from 0 up on the Z1 and then moved it from up on the Z1 back to 0, that's how I used to break everything. And it no longer works. Well, it works for some things. It broke this side, but this mirror went along with it because the parent and the child were moved together and history was not broken. Oh, I just thought of how to do it. I've already purged it, and there's no undoing, which is why I hate HistoryPurge, and there's no other command that you can just say, stop it. But how I would do it is, I'll go ahead and show you guys. Oop, not that one. Break. We want to change this from move to rotate, 0, and then, oh gosh, I got to do this from memory. Let's do 45 degrees and then rotate from 0, -45. Okay, so no matter where it is, we're doing a translation and we're doing the opposite translation. So it won't affect anything other than returning history off, lock off, rotating, derotating it. Can't undo it because undo restores history, and then turning LockChildren back on. Let's, do I have history here? No, because I did purge. But that is, that will be my new break history command. Okay. Here's the fun part. I'm going to grab all this stuff, copy, paste, move. Grab this, boom. Now we have one profile doing 2 of these. Undo that, grab this guy, copy, paste, move. Copy, paste, move. Copy, paste, move. Okay, so our old way of doing a shank, now I'm going to turn this up. So this is something that is very, I don't quite understand it yet. I think there is a bug with it. If you turn something off, right, and you copy and paste, 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 there we go. You're not getting everything. Copy, paste. I've got a whole lot of them I just did there. Let's undo until that one is gone. Okay. Grab this guy, copy, paste. Now I had all of my layers on, so when I go to edit this, oh, I broke history somewhere. No. I did all that and I messed up something. I grabbed all of it and did HistoryPurge. I hate HistoryPurge. It's not undoable. It's an evil command. Let's see where we have history to. So we do not have history on our junk. Ungroup this. We do not have history on that. Delete. We don't have history on that. Okay. Flow. Rigid off. Auto adjust no. Preserve structure yes. I'm going to turn off those for a second. We're going to do Joincopy. We're going to take our last created item and we are going to do curve through polyline. And then we can put these things on the layers they belong on. So that is our curve. These two are the junk. And now if I turn off junk and edit this, we have our history back. Okay. And then the last thing is to join all of that back together, group. So now I have the curve and the group. This is something that's not working right. If I turn off the flows and grab this, the flows are included. So if I move this, everything moved. If I copy it and paste it, that's not moving because this didn't get included. If I have it visible and locked and copy this and paste it, did not come over. It's highlighted, you're seeing it, copy it, paste it, did not come through on the paste. So make sure that all of these layers that I would normally keep locked and hidden are turned on and visible. So when you copy and paste, you get the full thing. And we can make sure that all of our history is working. Yes. Copy, paste, paste, paste. Okay. That's enough for our little Shank demo here. Okay, so next I want to grab all of these curves, select objects, and we're going to loft. Okay, I tell it to use a natural seam instead of the automatic seam. A lot of times it'll be the same, but natural gives me control over it, so it's one less way that the seam can flip. There is a problem with Joincopy that if you edit it too much, and I'll show you, I'm going to do natural, I'm going to do loose. Okay, there's my Shank. There is a problem with Joincopy where if I'm going to turn off the Shank flows, I'm going to turn off lock. I'm going to grab this guy and turn the points on, and I'm going to move it right there. It's fine. I move it right there. It's fine, and it's random. But at some point, I know what. There we go. At some point, this seam flipped. So if you look at this and you do direction, dir, you can see that they're going the same place. But if you look at CrvSeam, you can see that that one's going that way, and this one, it's down at the bottom going this way. So they're both going in the same direction, but the seam jumped from the bottom to the top when I moved that control point. Let's undo that so we get our history back. Okay, make sure that we have history on all of these. Little sanity check. Okay. Now I will bring up these guys, and I need some more lines. I'm going to take a line from here, and I'll bring it out to there so it's a little over. And I'm going to put that onto, let's change that to Shank profiles. And then I'm going to make a new layer for Shank flows. And I'm going to dump that curve on there. And I like to make these guys light gray, a little easier to see. And then I will take and bring that over here, turn lock off so I can move this into place. And let's do that and rotate that. Should have done that to begin with. Okay. And now for this, I take and we're going to do flow with stretch from there to there. And then from that, flow. And I have preserve structure turned on from earlier. I will not want that for here. I'm going to turn preserve structure off and go there and there. Now, some of you guys were asking me the other day how I did that crossover shank, and this is how I did it. I had my profiles here that I could edit to do, you know, there was an over-under pattern to them. So make sure lock is off. So I would do the over, and on the next one, I would do the under. And that's how I got the over-under humps. And it would stretch out. And then on this guy, I'm going to rebuild that to delete input. So our history goes on it to a 5.6. 5.6 sounds right. Okay. And then take these guys, and I set them about here. Those would be at the same level, and these guys would be on the other side. And then I took this, mirrored it across this axis, and then I did a entirely another one of these, which took a while to set up. Did I undo before I did that? I did not undo before I did that. I want these guys to have history for when I get to the end. Okay. Sanity check. Okay, let me do that again. Rebuild 5.6, mirror across this plane. Yes, mirror across the plane. And then I'm going to turn off this base surf. Come on. Set the Y on this to about there, and set the Y on that to about there. Okay. And then let's move it right to the edge here, and then scale it, not rotate it, scale it out just a bit. Lock back on, so I grab the one I mean to grab. Here, scale it out, move it to here. Grab all of this with nothing hidden. Nothing hidden. Grab all of this, copy, paste. And because we didn't use mirror, we can move it side by side. Grab this, flow curve with stretch onto this one. And then put those, make sure preserve structure is off, put those onto there. And now we have a single curve controlling this whole, all the profiles. We have one curve controlling the curvature of this. And that's how I would, this would be a template for doing this kind of crossover. Obviously, with a crossover, your shank profile is much narrower. Let's go to the front here. So if you want a 3mm wide shank, this would be at most 1.5 millimeters, which we're working with half of it. So that's only 3/4 millimeter, somewhere in there. Okay. And if you start to get a lot of history and it's slowing down, you can take and say, update children and turn it off and then work without any slowdowns. And then whenever you're ready, you can say history update and just click all, and then everything gets updated at the same time. Okay, so if I'll leave update children off, I'll make a big change. Okay, nothing happened, but history update all, and they all get updated. If it starts slowing down, you can do crazy things and have 1,000 history updates that go on at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and look to see what kind of comments we got and any questions. My brain will explode. How are you? I'm doing good, Aaron. How are you? How's your YouTube? Very nice. Let's see if anybody posted in the Discord. Nope. Okay. So if you guys have questions, I'm not in the voice chat this time. If you guys have any questions, put them in the YouTube chat or mention me, at me in the Discord, and I'll look at them when I get to kind of a break as I'm going through this, list of things that I have here. Okay, so the next thing, okay, a couple more things here. So now I'm going to turn off the Shank flows for a second. Now that I have this set up, everything based on this single profile, now I get judicious about when I start breaking things. So I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to turn lock off, and he would go up. I would lay this out in such a way that I would know that right here at these crossover points, I'm going to have two things that I can edit here. So I can quickly edit and make sure they come to the same height. And then where they get close together, let's make these guys close together. I turned off Shank flows. I still have Shank flows off. This is my parent one. It is not my parent one. This is my parent one. Bring those guys close together. I need them to be farther apart out here. Bring that in more and make it a little tighter. Okay, so this would be, you have stones coming up one side, you have stones coming up the other side. I've already bumped this one up so you can see that, it's a little higher here in the center. So I would come to the opposite one on this side. I would grab it, turn lock off, move it down. And, I have a low side and a high side. I would have set this up where specifically I make sure to have control points that I can edit where the transitions are. How that is for each one, you'll have to look at, depending on the number of twists, that's how many I would have created in the first place. Where the twists happen, I would make sure that I have control points there, not too many, but at least one at every major point. I would have one right here, one right there, one right there, and then two here at the end to control the tangency of when it flows off. I guess I don't need two right there. One at the end, obviously. Here, 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 and here. That's 5. How many did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5. Okay. Well, that works out perfect. Unintentionally made this perfect. But it's something I would think about before I started this layout. So I've got one up, one down. And you can see that there. Before I did that though, I would do something else. Get back here to where we have history, make sure we have history. Yes. That is still too wide. It needs to be, if we're going for a 3mm shank, we want this to be at the 3/4 millimeter mark. Okay. And then I can do, that's the wrong one, this one. Bring that in, bring it out, bring it tighter in. That should be a good starting point. Leave those points on. Now I'm going to have stones going all through here. So I would go ahead and change my, basic shank profile to accept stones. I move that to a Y and Z that matches this, an X and Z. Move that to an X and Z that matches this. Bring and tighten up this corner and tighten up this corner. And now I've got a edge that's going to be strong enough to hold stones. You have rooms on the corner here to cut your fishtail with. And then I would come in here. Once I know I've got the right height, I might bring this up to, say, this is about 1.9. I might bring it up to 2.25. Okay. Once I've got the right height for everything, that's when I take this guy and this guy, turn their points on, turn LockChildren off, and edit them individually. This one goes up. Let's make it symmetrical. Let's go up 0.3, and let's go down -3. And I know that just screwed the whole thing up. Usually doesn't screw up here. You saw me just do it and it was fine. But because I moved this over, maybe, let's try it again. -0.3. Nope, flip the seam. Joincopy has been behaving worse since this newest release. That's a shame. It was working fine earlier, changing the height. Usually it's when you mess with this guy. That's usually when it flips. You usually can mess with this guy, no problem. But now you can't even do that. What about here? What about here? Those are fine. That's fine. That's not. Okay, so there is a threshold to where this does not like to be, and it looks like that is it. So that is all we're going to get to move it, which is not much. We can take these two that are in the middle. I don't want to do this. But we're going to have to, just to get through this. We're going to have to move these guys down a little bit. Everybody wants to flip. This one goes up 0.3. This one goes down -0.3. Let's make it a family affair. Let's grab all the controls. Points on. Oops. If this bothers you as much as it bothers me, there's a link, because it sure is a pain in the butt trying to get out of this. Let's move that down another -3. Let's move that up another, nope, up another 0.3. Okay, so now we should have a good up and over scheme, and we look at it in place. That is, now here, it's not getting back to flat. So what that means is we've got to take, I'm going to hide my junk and surfs, or junk and control curves. So what I can do is tighten that up. Have history there. But if I take and I move the, oh. I did this to avoid the mirror, but now if I want to move these guys, I've got to grab all of this. This changed to dragging. I'm going to turn LockChildren on, and I should be able to move that, and it updates now. All right, let's see which way is better. We want this and this to hit equal footing at the same time. It looks like it's not doing it fast enough, so bring them closer together. Bring them closer together. Oh, do it some more. They're getting there. No. Bad idea. I think I know. Well, that's not the point of this. That's the kind of fiddling that you would do later. The last thing I would do is for this surface, I want it to angle out, and I want for this one to angle out that way, and I want this one to point that way. And so how you do that is, now that we have this, I'm going to grab these guys and isolate them. Isolate. Okay. Oh, that's above the plane. Should work. But I'd feel a whole lot better if select objects, show those. I want to grab all of these guys, select objects, and I'm going to scale them up to be taller than my tallest profile. So now I can isolate these guys. And here's how I'm going to get, now, damn it, Joincopy. We're going to push on. Hopefully they fix Joincopy shortly, but we're going to push on. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to grab the control. I want to grab this, this, and this. And I want to shear. Shear. Go from here to there. That twisted it. And then I'm going to take and do the same from the other side. Nope. I want to turn the surface points on. I want to grab those and the curve. I want to grab all the top control points. That's what I want to do. Do another shear. Okay. Now, when we look at this over here, instead of being flat and all the stones facing the same direction, it's going to kick them out a little bit. There we go. This is not in the middle of this. And for the other side, we can do the same thing. All right, instead of doing shear, I'm just going to turn points on. We're going to rotate that. Oops. Let's use, right, why would that have broken? Okay, I've got those. Got that. Let's rotate it. Oh, because I'm not rotating. I know, I see it. Rotate. And then move. Okay, that's what Shear was doing for me. That just manual was not. Move that back to the seam. Did I break history on this? So what is the difference between move to the seam? Move to the seam. Huh. Not sure why that's happening. I'll have to look at that. But anyways, that's the start. This one worked out well. I guess it's a little bowed under, and this one was a little bowed that way. I'll have to think about this one. This is all new. I would not set this up this way. Okay, let's move on. I've obviously got something else to think about here. Instead of doing the normal shear, doing this, so I keep my history. It's like a new idea, but I gotta flush it out a little bit. Okay, let's do one more. I'm gonna take and just delete all this. Except for these guys. I want 2 of these. Delete all that. Delete all that. Okay, so we've got these 2, and then I'm going to take and do another mirror. Now, this is how you can get around. Oh, let me pause and take questions, but this is how you get around the Joincopy issue for right now. Let's see. Haven't done much on the YouTube lately. Produced a couple of courses for Udemy. Nice, which have been doing great. I want to check those out, Aaron. You edit the second rail, how the history's still working, I didn't understand. When you copy and paste, now you copy and paste the history tree as well. That is the big thing that happened from being able to import multiple files and have history on them. Pull that up. So parent and child objects created by some commands lost connections on import. That was fixed. And now, as a side effect of that, copy and paste preserves history as long as you copy all the parents and all the children. Well, that's not true. You can, because, oh, I didn't mean to delete my, yeah, I did. Because my Master Crv over here, I didn't copy and paste that, but it was tied to the first copy and paste, and every one after that, it kept it. Have you been using sub D in Rhino? I'm still using Moto. It's just so far ahead. I probably will never jump on the sub D bandwagon in Rhino because things like this that I just showed where I'm doing control point editing like I would do in sub D, but I can use history to edit a chunk of profiles at the same time instead of having to, you know, window select 8 different rings of control points, figure out which ones I want to edit and which ones I don't, then editing all those together. Instead, I like to flow things into place. Like if you look, let me try and move this here. You see all these little guide snaps I have in my Rhino? This is like where I build things, and then I put them into space with these guys, right? So I'll build a 3-stone head with, I'll build a 3-stone head. Come on. Out here. Boom, boom, boom. And then I'll take, I just want to copy those over to 0. I'm only using one hand. This is harder. Okay, switch to 2. I've got project off. That's my problem. Set that on the Y. And then I'll take and lock, break that, bring it down, and mirror that over to the other side. So I'll build a 3-stone head. If both sides are the same, I'll build one of these and then mirror the whole thing over. But a lot of times you've got, you know what people bring in and want to turn into something that wasn't designed for. So I'll build one of them, not have the other, or build all 3, and then, flow rigid into place onto the finger. So I do a lot of that. And that there's no way to do that with sub D because it all ends up being one big surface. Let's see. No more questions? Okay. So this is how we get around the Joincopy. So I'm going to ungroup that. Actually, let's make sure none of them are in a group. Remove from group, everything in here. Okay. So this was mirrored to here, and then these 2 were mirrored to there. I don't want history on any of these, so I'm going to use my new break history function and then try it. If I take and move this, yes. Okay. So that broke history because it was a rotate instead of a move. The thing that I wanted this Joincopy for was doing patterns like this or patterns like this, where I could have, these 3 points control an infinite little wavy surface. How big the waves are, how tall the crest was, making it tight or loose. This is where Joincopy came from, being able to get radial symmetry for doing earrings and pendants. There's no real way to do this. There's no real way to do that except for you can use points. So I'm going to lay out some points here. I want to snap to the mid, and put one out here. And then I'm going to take that and mirror. Oh, not mirror. We're not using mirror. We're using flow. Preserve structure, but it's just a point. Okay, so now if I move this point, we should see radial symmetry. And I need to flow this point, flow to there, and this point, flow to there as well, okay? So now you can do curve through point, and go boom, 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 boom. And we want it to be closed and degree 5. And now we've got 1 point. Or 3 points, I should say, where we have this pattern. And this will never flip. So if you remember, the first point I picked was this one. And let's look at the CrvSeam. And here's the CrvSeam. I notice that a lot. It's the second point. So if you are trying to control the CrvSeam using curve through point, let's test it. I'm going to delete that. I want to say curve through points. I'm going to pick this one first. I guess that was the third point I picked. CrvSeam. Okay, so it's 2. It's the second, which for a periodic surface, a periodic, that makes sense. Okay, so it's the second one. It's the second one because you see here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. But if you call what, you're going to have 2 extras. Oh, you got duplicates both ways. Okay. This is periodic, meaning it takes this point and duplicates it around. Because it's degree 5, it has to have 5 duplicates. If it was degree 3, it would have 3 duplicates. So even though you're grabbing this point and you think it's 1 point, it's not. So there's duplicates here and here, here and here. That's why it's 2 over on a degree 5. It would be 1 over on a degree 4. Let's try it. Delete that. We started here. Curve through, nope. Curve through points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make it a degree 4. And CrvSeam. Now the CrvSeam is in between point. Interesting. Interesting. And if we do what, we're going to see that we have 4 duplicates because it's degree 4. So if you did a degree 3, it would be 1 over. Degree 5, it's going to be 2 over. And a degree 4, it's going to be 1.5 over. I don't know the math for that, but Rhino folks do. Alex, why mirror and not flow? The problem with mirror is when I bring in a template, import file, okay, and I want to bring it in again, okay, I can move this up. Make sure lock is on. I can move this up, but sometimes I don't want it to be here. I want it to be over here. And when I want it to be over there, the mirror breaks. So using this, I can grab all of these, keep lock on, and move it anywhere I want. And I still have history. That's why I'm using flow. I'm not sure if I like it. This is a brand new service release. I'm excited because of this copy paste history. And like this has been the first thing this was the first feature request I asked for from McNeil, was to fix the history breaking when you import something for the second time. The number of times that I have made this ring with 13 different stone sizes and had to make each one of these bezels by hand because I want to keep the same bezel width or the same border width. I've got 13 different stone sizes. I got to make it 13 times each. And I counted, it's about 20 commands to get from the stone to a completed bezel. That's 13 times. I have to do 20 commands. This is 10 times 20 commands. That's 200 commands I'm running. Whereas if I could just import it and scale the stone and all the history keep, that's a difference of 20 commands versus 200 commands. It's a huge time saving to have this import file multiple times with history. I was talking about this with them back when it was on the the old news group server before they had discourse. This is very valuable to me. And the fact that copy and paste work, where I can grab all of this, copy it, paste it, move it over here, and now this works. That is amazing. Okay. Now, some of you might be asking why I don't just always use curve through point. And the reason is very simple. If I take this guy and realize that I need, let me crispen up the edges for where I would lay stones. Let me get a proper front view so I can do this. Set Z, bring this over, bring this up. Okay, there's my crisp edges. And I realize, oh, that's not crisp enough. It's too round. Or the bottom of this is not soft enough. I can delete that point and that change propagates through to the loft. If I delete this point, it doesn't change. You know, I deleted that point and changed the structure of this thing. I can't delete this point, delete, and change. I hit the wrong button, and change the structure of it. Okay, all I did was break the history of it. You can also take, come on. You can also say, let me just, I can also say insert control point. Pop that there, and now, come on, what's going on? And now I sharpen this up even more. Boom, boom. And now I sharpen it up even more right there. So with the Joincopy, you can continue adding detail or removing detail as you need. Through point, you got to be really sure that you have the right kind of symmetry that you want, the right kind of control point structure before going in this. But, you know, this is really, really powerful for, I want to grab these corner points when I do that, don't I? This is really powerful for doing, you know, kind of organic designs where you would, let me grab this one, copy, paste, put that on the other side, and then flow or loft. I'm going to turn lock on, grab these guys and rotate them. And I still have my editability. Oh, you can imagine all the possibilities for doing this kind of stuff. Nope, wrong tab. This kind of stuff. Okay, I think that is everything that I wanted to cover. Let me go through Radial history. Yes. Okay, links for all of this stuff is in the YouTube video. I don't think I had this one because this is from this morning, going back and forth with McNeil. And I need to update them again. Please jump over and say we need Joincopy fixed, because you saw the pain that I went through where it quit working and I had to jiggle it to get it working again. Please head over to the discourse forum and say, yes, please fix, because right now I'm the only one. If you look at this history, or any of the 20 other threads, I am the only one crying and whining about this. It's people saying, why do you need it? You shouldn't need it. Just use blocks. I'm the only one that's been talking about this, and I finally got this fixed. Don't make me the only one talking about this. Look at how useful this would be, you know, to have 2 control points and have this whole radial pattern that you could edit. I would ask you something, but it's out of subject. Why you don't upload YouTube videos? Your tutorial is very good, or make paid courses. The reason I don't upload videos is because if I record it, then I go to edit it, and then I have to listen to myself, and I hate it, and it just never gets done. I've got a lot of videos that I just never finish because the editing just made me go, oh, I should go back there and fix a mistake. I'm just going to stream and leave the mistakes in and let you guys see the warts and never look at it again and not worry about, you know, what it sounds like or looks like. Okay. That is it. Unless anybody has any other questions. I don't see any other questions. So I'll put timestamps in the video. Please go to Discourse and say, yes, we need this. That's very much helps get things fixed. All right. And if you want to join the Discord server where we talk about all this stuff and where I started showing this stuff a few days ago, you know, the black magic of what I was doing, you know, go to Discord, join there, and there's voice chat and all kinds of stuff. Where should you ask for it? This is, I will put this in the video here. I'm adding it to the video description right now. We need Joincopy fixed. Exclamation point. Okay, save. All right, so it should be in the YouTube video description now. The link to the Discord is in the video description. All these links that we went through are in the description. All right, guys. Well, if that's it, no more questions, then I'm going to end stream. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Talk to you guys later.